to be there and baby dance the night away. I let my head down if I want.
Okay, all gone except the brows and my mascara. I wanted it to be really quick. Okay, so I didn't add anything back in either. I'm going to take the biggest, puffiest brush you've ever seen in your life. This is brush number 2 from LimeLife. It is like, when I first got it, I was like, what do you do with this? It's really good for the body, actually, for lots of reasons. I found out eventually. So take your highlight. Now you're a naturalist, so you probably have some beautiful glowy skin from your great skincare that you do. You're just gonna wanna touch on the points of your face where the light's gonna hit. And so I have no face makeup on. Just gonna go into it. Make sure there's not too much, but because it's such a fluffy brush, it's not gonna pick up quite as much. And in this case, I would do the top of my forehead just because I have no other makeup on. Like the foundation gives a bit of that shine. You see that? Like, you could use, sorry, brush number 1 as well. It's gonna give you less coverage in terms of how big it is. Like the other one, you just kind of go, they're pretty much done. Whereas this guy is gonna be a bit more strategic in the area you put it in. But you really just kind of fluff it on. And then you look like you have that natural, like you can see my freckles. Your skin shows through, but you have like that glass-like shine of the highlight. And if you're like, whoa, that's, you know I like to give a whoa. You can still mute it a little bit with the translucent powder. See how it just kind of slows it down? See, like glass, satin-ish. And so you can still do that. And then, you know, natural girls, do a fluff of it on, throw on a little bit of your Perfect Balm on your cheeks. And you don't really need much more than that. I'm just gonna, you can do that right over top of the highlight. They mix beautifully. It'll actually kind of encapsulate the glow powder in there. You'll get a little bit more glow. Maybe you don't want that. So in that case, I would do just a little bit of blush, maybe a wet brush. And the reason why I do a lot of the wetting is because it really turns it into more of a stain rather than like a powder application. And so, boy, it's not really showing up for the camera here, so just gonna deepen it ever so slightly. Without my makeup on, that's the wrong shade for me. I'm gonna cool it off a little bit. Put a little bit of pink grapefruit over top. See, when you're wearing, isn't it supposed to be that kind of lesson, but when you're barefaced, the kind of blush you put on sometimes can shift. I should really do more videos talking about these things. I cooled my tone a bit. My skin is in really good shape, so it's already shiny. So I put these highlighters on top, and it's kind of crazy. There's like headlights in this room. I should come on here and do skincare chats. If that's interesting to you, if you're one of those people that's like, hey, I want to know what you know about skincare, let me know in the comments, because I know a lot about that stuff. And I'm trying some new things that pair well with my LimeLife that I would impart to you guys. So, but please interact. Nobody does. Everyone's really quiet, except sometimes I get the odd comment and then I reply and they just disappear. I don't know, they never come back. I'm really chatty when it's nighttime. It's so buttery. That's a pretty color. I really like that one. I often think it's too pink for me, but my natural face disagrees. Okay, that's it. Back to the video. The other thing you might want to do is go into it first and do one dab. You can try that too. I find it's good to give a few options because not only to confuse you, I'm just kidding, sometimes it just works better a certain way for a certain person, and sometimes the way things work for me is not always the way it works for everybody else. So I like to really give a lot of options. Hey, so I'm gonna patch this into the video I had left, and I thought about things a little bit more, and I just really had to come back and add just these 2 tips basically. There's gonna be someone out there that has dry skin that's gonna do this, and it might show up, it might highlight their dry skin in a way that they don't love, and they're gonna say, what do I do? Or they're just gonna hate it. So this is kind of for you if that happens. So if you find that it's starting to crackle at all, and that crackle, it just looks crackled, yeah, like it's settling in between your dry skin flakes. This is what you can do. So you can take brush number 5, dip it into your like oil priming, so whatever facial oil you use, 1 Drop Wonder. Due date is, if it's okay for your skin, it might be too heavy for some people's skin, that would be one. Dip it in, actually just go into it. I don't know, it doesn't seem to suck up oil the same as other highlighters I've used. So if you're worried about it, you can dip into this first and then your oil, but I just go right into it. I don't know, it seems to be okay. And so then you're gonna go to wherever that area is that you have a little tiny bit of the dryness look going on, and you're just gonna start to swirl the concoction in that area. And now I talked about this with the perfect translucent drops as well. This works actually even better for this. Like it works for that too, to kind of get you out of a pickle, but it works really well for this particular issue. I would say even more. Like once you're done, it's very pretty. And you could actually do this natural, like if I remember to do the natural one later, when I take my makeup off, this would be a natural way, is dipping it in the oil and kind of just swirling it on. I showed it earlier, kind of patting it. So that's a way too. There's many ways. You really can't go wrong with this. But this is gonna really swirl it and kind of melt it together so it has like a really metallic but dilute sort of look, and it's not gonna just be like that, because if you keep your highlight in too much of a straight line, it's gonna start to look kind of like, I don't know, it's gonna look fake. So if you put on the highlight and you've massaged out your blush, this is that circumstance where I sometimes add the blush in after. You know, it's a good brush to do that. I really have to do a video. I've done a live on my Facebook about it, but brush number 16. You can do your highlight, but you can also do blush with it. So I'm gonna dip into my blush. Ooh, a little too much. So I'm gonna dab the blush onto a paper towel. And so I'm just gonna start to pounce that, like that. And then with the tip, I kind of just work it out at the edges. It sort of does a lot of the work for you, it's a great brush. I'm gonna do a video on it soon. Because I call this the one and done brush. You can do a lot of stuff with it. If you just need like a one brush to do all the things, that's your guy. I like using this for blush the most. I just don't think of it as often as I should be, so it kind of just like melts into it. The next thing I wanted to show you is, okay, on your lips. So say if you have natural lips, and I took my stuff off, make sure they're not dry though, like put some lip balm on them, lip balm, and then wipe them off. Now take the pigment and add it onto your lips, like that. It's gonna look crazy. Then take your perfect balm and go over top. It's kind of like you have this little bit of gold shimmer embedded within the color. This is Ruby Red. Now, if your lips are dry, it might not work as well. So let your stuff soak in and then do it. I think it's really pretty. It's kind of like, it makes your lips look a little bit glossy without being like, without actually having gloss on. And it works with this shade too, which is the Melon. I always call it Mango. It's pretty. I really do like using it for that reason too. Same thing, you can put this on your cheeks and you can put glow over top and it looks beautiful. You can actually put gloss on top. And that will be like, you've got the pout for miles and miles. People will be like, whoa, wah. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna get back to the video. Okay, I do use it on top of my shadow and on my lips as well. It's so easy to use for so many things. So if you're gonna use it as shadow, it is the most beautiful inner corner highlight on earth. You don't even have to wet it. See it just starting to glow? You can just build it up. I've been using it so much lately that I'm like, somebody's gonna ask me where that highlight's coming from. Thankfully nobody did. I probably tried to avoid looking like I had the highlighter on a lot. And so that, oh my God, is just my favorite thing to do. You know what? I actually usually use this brush here. This is brush number 8. It's kind of like, it just makes it a little easier for you. See? It's very focal pointed already. Wow, really making this a good old training session on this powder. It is worthwhile, guys. I would get it as soon as you can. You will not regret it. Now for shadow, just dip into it with your brush number 7. Tap it off. And then you can just kind of pat. So say it's the middle. I was going for matte today, so this is gonna be, you can still do it actually. So I'm just gonna go on top of my eyelid, right in the middle, like so. Now, as I've said in other videos, if you use your finger, you can always blend that out a bit, so it's a little bit more natural. And if you use your finger to apply it, it will apply a little bit more intense. So I'm gonna dip into it with my finger and show you what happens there. And you can actually mix this with other shimmers of yours, a dab of this into a dab of that, and make new colors. Oh, there's so many beautiful things you can do. And see how vibrant it is? Again, if you're like, whoa, dude. Sorry, my husband says dude a lot. I learned it from him. He was born in 1972. I think they said dude a lot back then. And so it is something that I've like adopted, and I say it. It's like I mean, they said it too in my, like, closer to my generation, but we just don't say it. We just don't say it now that we're older. But he says it. And so you do start to talk like your husband after a while. Okay, so now you've got the idea. You can wet it with your priming spray and dab. It'll give you a creamy, beautiful, actually, you know what? Let's do it properly. Okay, so if you're gonna do it as a creamy eyeshadow that you want to last, I would probably use the time setter for this. Spray your brush, concealer brush. This is LimeLife's concealer brush number 6. I'm gonna just dab into it. And then I'm gonna just ever so slightly pat it. You don't really want to swipe because you'll start to take off some makeup. Time setter does that for some reason. Well, I know why, but there's no point in explaining that here. So this will make it kind of a little bit creamy and metallic versus the way it was. You can always go in and add a little bit more. It's actually my favorite way to wear it, which is why I'm showing. But I know I just sometimes share too many things and I don't want to make this complicated. This is gonna be a little all over the place for people. And so the last thing, I promise you this is the last thing, lips. So I use my finger or I use a concealer brush if it's already wet and in my hand. Put your lip stuff on. And then just kind of pat out the edges. Sometimes I even do a tiny little bit on my lip. Especially if I'm doing this. I always do this. They just kind of match better that way. Woo, okay, did I remember everything? Probably not. The things I didn't go over is things like your collarbone if you're wearing a beautiful dress and you want to have those beautiful collarbones out. You'll just take a dry brush like number 16, which is a great brush for highlighting too, guys. Like I forgot, it kind of just adds it in. Like, of course I've got so much, but oh, see what I mean? Like, whoa. Okay, so collarbone, kind of just go like that. I think I'm gonna end on that note. I feel like I have taken up your time and you guys are precious. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you have any questions, throw it in the comments. If you need a beauty guide because you are like, your beauty guide is no longer doing this and you want to be with me, then you can just email me. I will put that below. You can reach out to me on Messenger, wherever, and I can connect to you and answer any of your questions personally. So I have clients all over the place. The US counts as well. Even though I'm Canadian, I'm an international beauty guide, so I can do pretty much anywhere that LimeLife is, I am allowed to be their beauty guide. I forgot about this. You can put a little under your brow. See, you can do so much with this highlighter. It is well worth your investment. It will last a long time. You will use it. Highlight is something that's gonna be a classic. It really is, it's not going anywhere. So you best get used to it. So thank you guys again, and we will talk.